Hello for part two of our podcast of Sundays, I guess. I'm so glad I recorded that previous one because it's just a few hours later and, it's a completely different story. I still struggle. I watched some Ted Lasso. I missed a lot of it because I was replying on threads and distracted. And I had a thought momentarily where I was going to write a note to myself that, you know, uh, is being out in the public the best idea for you because you're so raw and emotional, and people don't understand you. And then after starting to type that out and after having a discussion with just some random woman who wants to judge me because she thinks she knows me because I commented on some post where somebody said something ignorant and I responded with a logical takedown of it, and then just judge it. Oh, typical man, blah 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 blah, whatever. My new note is: don't doubt your podcast. Some people suck. You're fighting a fight. There will be punches thrown. Either you prevail or you go down fighting for what you believe in. And that's the fucking story. That's what I'm doing. I am not going to be silenced any longer by anyone. Even uh, my therapist, my couples therapist, who I saw for a few times, and we just argued nonstop. It doesn't matter, but had comments on the podcast that said she thought I was sharing too much, and literally therapist saying you're sharing too much. I mean, that's what we've gotten to. Therapy is supposed to be about being open and sharing your feelings so that they don't bottle inside, but apparently I'm not supposed to share my feelings on a video because that is too much or whatever. It's so silly. I can't um, I can't comprehend it. So I'm not going to. I'm going to be me. I'm going to say what I think, and people can watch, people can share, people can comment, and maybe I don't post it, maybe I do, maybe it doesn't make any sense, maybe it makes all the sense in the world, but it exists. I mean, I can remember during that last recording how much weight I felt lifting off as I was able to verbalize those things. And that's the point. It is, it is when you can see someone like me who feels so deeply and goes through these giant emotional waves and feels so strongly in the moment, 10 times more in my opinion than some other people. The idea that it wouldn't work for you is illogical to me. But again, it's totally up to everyone. But what am I talking about? I'm talking about, just being yourself, finding your balance, finding your growth, and looking inside yourself and saying, what can I do to make myself better today? What is something that I wish I did differently, or something that would make me a happier person? And then work to achieve it. Work to deal with the traumas that control your life, because they do. They absolutely do. We all have traumas. We all have deep feelings that we hide from every single person on the planet has traumas. The more people act out, the more people respond in a shut down fashion, the more people have big feelings, the more traumas they have. And so understand that that's a fact. And if you don't deal with it, that's the reason that shit just goes sideways sometimes, where you just don't understand why it doesn't feel right, why you feel like an imposter, why you go to why you're doing everything right and it's still empty inside. Why lying to your spouse for years doesn't end up becoming happiness. Why just so many different things. We have one life to live, regardless of whether or not you're religious, whatever. Just view that as a separate existence. We have one life to live, whether or not we live to be uh, a fetus, or whether or not we live to be over 100 years old. We have this life where we have our body that we need to take care of. We have our mind that we need to feed and we need to grow. And if we don't, then we simply stagnate. And it's incumbent on every human being, in my opinion, to get out there and push yourself and become the best version of yourself that you can be. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you think you're the best version that you can be right now, that's what you need to work on. Because I guarantee you that there are 1,000 different things that you could do. And why don't you ask people in your life? If you don't have people in your life, there's something that you need right there. That's one thing that I need. I don't, and that's probably because of how uh well, I mean, I don't do anything anymore. I don't, I mean, literally don't see anybody. I don't go out because I don't want to spend money. And I'm trying to cut back on drinking, and so it's, and then getting out, and then sometimes my health is, but I'm trying to go through this transitional period, and hopefully we can see more growth on the podcast. I don't know, but what I do want is for every single person watching this video to know that my podcast is here to share my truth, to share my experiences, my growth, my live, messy realizations in real time. And whether or not that has value is for you to determine. But I believe it has value, which is why I'm recording it. And so I hope that I'm not alone. I want to interview people. I want to, I want this just seems right. It just seems right. I don't know how else to say it. When I'm recording a podcast and I believe somebody's going to watch this, and I believe that it could one day get me to the point where I could talk to people that I respect and give them the platform that they deserve to share all the beautiful concepts and ideas that they have, and lessons that they have, and things that have gotten them in their life that they can share to other people. That's what I want this podcast to be. When I bring on a guest, I want to find out what motivates them. I want to find out what drives them. I want to find out what, specific questions. Like, I mean, if I bring on any of my favorite singers, I want to, talk about what they're comfortable with. But if they're comfortable talking, I mean, I would think that they would be comfortable talking about their lyrics, most of them. And I want to talk about how those lyrics have affected me and my life, and how they pulled out the pain and made me realize that I was hiding inside my entire life. And now it's a little more turbulent, it's a little tougher, because I tried to become what society told me I had to be, and I ended up on a ledge. Didn't physically get out on the ledge. That's important for some people apparently, but I was naked, drunk in a bathtub, and I pictured jumping off the ledge. That was enough for my autistic brain to go, something's wrong, buddy, because that's not an answer for anything. Because once you do that, you're just out of the picture. And that doesn't compute. So we need a better answer. And I didn't have it. So I reached out for help. And then that's when I started realizing that my brain had become my enemy. And that's what depression is, in my opinion. That's what happens when you are going through something that your body and your brain cannot compute, because it's just it, and it's an absolute nightmare. If you've never felt it, you are so lucky, because I hear, and there's different degrees of everything. All these people say, "Well, I have ADHD." Okay, cool, grats. So you have your own presentation of ADHD, as I talked about in the last podcast. But if it's not a deciding factor for your life, you don't fucking have ADHD like I do, because ADHD does not stop with me. It is a it is a core fucking uh situation. It is not something of choice. It's not something that I can be like, yeah, I'm a little ADHD, because no, I literally cannot compute the next thing I'm going to say. When I watch a television show, or I see someone, or I look back on something and I see how somebody meticulously planned a whole conversation to arrive at a structured point, that blows my fucking mind, because I cannot do that. I couldn't do it if you paid me $80 million. You say, if you can do this, I mean, maybe I could script it, but I would end up going off script. It wouldn't work, or I don't know. That's See, there it is. There it is, exactly. See, then that's my autism trying to make it so real. I could have just said what I said and not had to keep going into it, but that's me. I want things to make sense to me. And that's autism. Autistics want to understand everything. And when they don't understand something, they ask a question. But the problem is, in this society, when somebody asks a question, people assume why they're asking the question, instead of just answering a fucking question respectfully and just saying, hey, this person wants information and it doesn't hurt me. So why don't I give them the answer and see where this goes? I'll give somebody the benefit of the doubt, instead of taking my fucking bias, my inherent bias that I've earned over to 20, 30, 40, 50 years of being treated a certain way and seeing certain things, and determining certain things. It's one of the things that I worked on back in my growth last year, is getting rid of all my bias. I don't treat a woman differently than a man now. I don't treat a person of a different race or a different sexual preference differently, because we're all just fucking people. And I've met very kind and funny and smart and intelligent and wonderfully empathetic gay people, and I've met asshole gay people. I've met wonderful, intelligent, polite, and kind black people, and I've met asshole black people. I've met wonderful, kind men. I've met asshole men. I've met wonderful, kind women. I've met asshole women. And so I keep seeing all this shit online about men are this, women are this, blah, 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 blah. This is the fucking problem. It's single people. We are individuals, and we need community. So we need to be able to say, I am my own person. I am unlike anybody else. Everybody else is unlike anybody else. And just because someone did something that is a man, or etc., that doesn't make every single man culpable to this. Same thing as women, same thing as race, same thing as gender, same thing as everything. This is the point. And this just annoys me as an autistic person, because it's fucking logic. It's just blatant to me. It's obvious. Why don't other people see this? It would make society and neurodivergent people and everybody so much more safe and happy and comfortable because we would just say, look at that person, they're a dick. And that's it. But when one man does something, it impugns every single man in people's minds. That's your bias. If you do that, that is your fault. Because in every one of my relationships, I was the fucking victim. Okay, I know about victim mentality, and well, not every single one. There were a few where I mean, like I had an old relationship where I just didn't have the feelings for the girl. I mean, I literally turned down a honeymoon that was going to be fully paid for anywhere in the world if I married her, just because I mean, it just didn't. You have to see a future with the person, and and then I mean, I literally married a person after I'd been with her for 2 weeks because she was going to get deported out of the country if she didn't get married, and I had to go through that whole rigmarole of going to visits with the government and everything. It was funny too. When I went, I was actually sick, and so I was vomiting nonstop. So they were like, "Oh, you're nervous," and it was it was a crazy time. But yeah, when I met my last ex, that's recently my ex. The reason I'm at my parents' house right now, I thought it was over, but now I'm back in it, and I don't want to do it again, man. I don't want the hassle. I hope a woman finds me because I don't have the energy anymore to find a woman. I don't have the energy to woo. I don't have the energy to fucking be mysterious and be, everything that you want in a man. I just want to exist. I just want to give I want I don't know, man. Where's this going? But whatever, this was the thread. Let's keep following it. I want a woman that appreciates my mind, that respects my feelings, that appreciates my feelings, and that reciprocates. That's all I want. And then I want to find out what she wants. And as long as it's not crazy deal breakers, I mean, if you want to smoke cigarettes, that's a deal breaker, man. I don't like cigarettes. They make me, yeah, I don't like the smell. I don't like tasting it. I mean, there's no way. I'm sure you're a great person, but that's not for me. I mean, I don't want somebody who's big into alcohol anymore because my ex, just got me back into drinking way too much. And even though, it was better than it was still way too much. I probably drink like 10, 12 drinks a week or something like that. And I mean, we're talking two old fashions. We're talking, just like, I mean, but the way, anyway. Um, but yeah, now I'm just starting to rant, and I had points in the beginning, and now I'm just running out. So, but the point of the recording is that the difficult time this morning was real. It was absolutely 1,000% real. And then 2, 3 hours later, this is real too. Just because you see somebody falling apart, and just because you see somebody struggling, doesn't mean that they're in that all the time. Listen to what people say and be there for them and comfort them. Give them a hug. Tell them you're there for them. Don't tell them what they should do. Tell them I'm here for you if you need anything. If you want. I mean, and again, I don't know. I'm I could just only speak to my experiences, but and I'm usually not the norm. So who fucking knows, man? Oh fuck. But like I said, I enjoy doing the podcast. I believe that I have, and this is the real root of it. I always like to get to the root of things, and this is the real root of it. I believe I have views and opinions and ideas that very few, if no one, is going to have themselves. That is not saying that I am smarter. It just indicates the rareness of it. And so my autistic mind says if this is a one of a kind thing, it should be shared so people can experience it and then judge it and then determine if there is any value for them. If there's not, that's cool. But there, I mean, it's just the law of supply and demand, or scarcity, or just. But honestly, it comes down to this makes me feel good. I and I mean I've explained some reasons why, but sometimes you don't always know. Sometimes you just got to go by your your feelings. Sometimes you just got to go with this feels good and it doesn't hurt anyone, so why not? And so that's why I do a podcast, because it feels good for me, and I believe that there could be something in there that nobody else would see, and so maybe there's something there. Um, in the future, I hope to have a cohesive message. I want to build like a map to happiness, to where you can have clarity, and so you forget the past and then you don't worry about the future. You simply focus on the present. I've seen all kinds of connections where, this is for Buddhism and this is this and this is that. It's not connected to any of that, but it's not a coincidence that they see that, because it does have value. Then through that clarity, you can achieve growth, because now you're clear. Now you can see yourself for who you are in the moment. Instead of beating yourself up, you're practicing compassionate self accountability, etc., etc., etc. All my rules, everything I've talked about in the past, and this would be overloading. And I know that's the problem. I know that's the problem. I wish I could just focus on one topic, but I don't have any feedback to know what topic that should be. If somebody would comment and say, hey, you talked about this, do a whole episode on this, I'd do that. I'd find a guest for it, maybe, and we could do that. So let's do that. How about that? Somebody comment and say, hey, why don't you explore this idea more? And we'll do that. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe it won't. But I guess that's the ending. I know. I mean, this is not a podcast like others, I believe. I don't know if that's a value. I know I've said that probably a dozen times. I don't know how this gets seen by people. I mean, posting it, that is one thing. So many podcasts I haven't posted, but I'm just, I'm in my head that it's not going to get seen. The people don't, and that's on me. And that's stuff that I'm trying to work on, and it's tough. It's tough. Take my word for it. Not gonna over explain it, not gonna defend it. It's tough for me. But we all have things that are tough for us. For some people, just dealing with their emotions is tough, and I respect that. And this podcast is probably not for you. Or maybe it is. Maybe if you face your toughness, that's how you grow. If you face where you're weak, you have the ability to become better than you were. And that's what life is supposed to be, in my opinion. That's the meaning of life. That's what we're going to end the podcast on, is the meaning of life to this autistic ADHD person who likes to diagnose things to the root, who believes that you give him enough time, give him enough data, give him enough information, as long as it's not something mechanical, that has to be built or something, as long as it's just concepts. And I believe that the meaning of life, every day you wake up, is to be better than you were yesterday. Because if you do that consistently over the course of days and weeks and months and years, who is the person that's there 365 days later? A person that is 365 times better than the person that is sitting here today. Doesn't that excite you like it excites me? If it doesn't, we really are very different, because that excites the shit out of me. And some days, growth just becomes getting through the day. Some days just is, some days are simply existing, simply getting by, because times is tough, because it's a tough day. And sometimes giving 5% is giving 100%, because that 5% took everything in you, and that's okay. But treating people like shit, judging people because of one comment, you know, eliminating people because they have one belief that you disagree with, as long as it's not, death to some race, or death to this, or I mean, obviously, when anybody wishes intentional harm, that is a broken, damaged person that should be distanced from. That's what I talk about. Distance yourself from violent, ignorant, selfish people. Another one of my rules of life. And don't take anything they say to heart. You know, and so identify the patterns of those people. You know, that's the true thing, is that you have to recognize, and this can be family members, this can be best friends, this can be spouses, this can be your kids. It doesn't matter. Obviously not your ungrown kids, but your, you know, you have to identify patterns in which you see this person confirming the same behavior over and over again that harms you, and recognize that everything you've tried, it's not your fault. It's that person's pain and trauma and bias and everything that is infringing on your right. And you have to learn that you shouldn't take what they say to heart. And so that's where I am with my ex now. And it is painful still, but it's getting better, because she is unsafe. She is, well, let's end with a poem. I don't know. I like writing poetry. I've written a lot of poems. Let's see one of the recent poems that I've written, if any of them are relevant. I liked this one. This one is called Overloaded. And this is written from a very autistic standpoint. Input limit achieved. Please install update. System will go to sleep as update loads. Emotions, poems, podcasts, heartbreak, loss, sacrifice, memory full. What can I archive? What can I prioritize? My circuits freeze. Life outside of it seems like a nightmare waiting to fuck me and drag me deeper into despair. Jada file not loading. So many errors. File corrupted. Hardware removed. So much space now, but it's so empty. The space holds promise, but it's made me feel obsolete, antiquated, a failure. The space fit her like a glove until she started breaking my CPU and motherboard. But a virus was detected, and once a virus roots its way in, you have to scan and reformat. Now I'm recovering and rebuilding my systems, and simple tasks and actions that were able to be done with ease seem daunting and complicated. But I will relearn and find new uses for all this space. I can't wait until I'm ready for input again, but for now, I need to rest during my update, going into sleep mode. And so I'm going to go back into sleep mode. I just wanted to come back on. I haven't even posted the other one yet, but I'm just going to post both of these and whatever. It is what it is. Again, anybody watching this, I really appreciate it. It means more to me than you know. I don't know how you found me. Comment on how you found me. I have no idea how any of this works. I'm hoping to, be in a position at some point to have people who can help me with this. But until then, I'm just going to keep, recording, posting, and maybe finding something that resonates with people, makes them want to share, comment, like, because I think that's how everybody does it. Maybe they pay for advertising. Maybe they, play on your heartstrings. Maybe they know how to manipulate you better. I'm not here to manipulate anybody. I'm just here to say I'm me, just like I said, as an autistic. And every time, if you've watched the show Love on the Spectrum, tell me this isn't how every single person on that show operates, or every single autistic you've ever met in your life. Hi, I'm me. I like being me, and I hope you like who I am. If you make me feel unsafe in being me, I am going to feel bad about it later. I hope we get along. Now, please tell me about yourself and let's see how you make me feel. And that's me in a nutshell. And then if I vibe with you, I'm going to start interrupting you because I'm going to be excited to talk to you and get ideas, and I want to share ideas, and then you're probably never going to want to talk to me again because I'm too much. But what can you do? Maybe not. But anyway, oh yeah, and I want to be on Love on the Spectrum too, because I want to show a different side of the spectrum. So if you want to share it because of that, I want to interview the director of Love on the Spectrum, because that show clued me into my autism. I've said this on other podcasts, and I don't even know if I've posted those. So, I don't know, man. Hashtag nerd. I don't know, man. Whatever. See, I don't like that. I don't do that stuff. I'm not. I don't want attention. I just want a good life, and I just want to be able to be myself and to share the autistic experience, because so many autistics don't have that ability. They just are themselves unapologetically. And I'm jealous of that. I wish I could be that. I wish I could just but really they're not. As I've said on previous podcasts as well, which I also probably haven't released yet. It's autistics, and I believe that's why my memory is so bad, is because I have so many uh rules and lessons that I've learned from all of my poor interactions, that I take into all my new interactions, even though I still fuck them up. It's still, and that's why I can't. I've taken all this information and tried to become a better person. That's why I wrote my poems about masking, and my first poems that are back on Autistic Pod and probably read on some of my podcasts on Neurodivergent Journey and Nick Pagano. I'm sorry I'm not better at this. I'm sorry I'm not a good marketer. I'm sorry I can't keep things consistent. I'm sorry I repeat myself. I'm sorry that I'm ADHD. I'm sorry that it's not the normal entertainment. But isn't that also a good thing? Isn't it also good to see something different, to see something real in a world that wants to present you beautifully wrapped presents and inside of it there's nothing. My present is haphazardly wrapped. It's ugly. It's got tape wrapped all around it. It's probably you've got holes in the wrapping paper, and you're gonna think it's a shit gift, but it might actually be the gift that you've always wanted and never known to even ask for. And I hope that that ends up being true to people more than just myself. I mean, I kept my ex for 10 years, so I must have been doing something right, and I didn't change that much. I was always the same kind, empathetic person. I just stopped hiding. And all some people want to do is hide, and that's okay. I don't I'm not here to tell anybody how to live your life. Your life is your choices as long as you're not infringing on other people. And yeah, so there's the next podcast. Um, thank you for watching if you're listening. um, have a good one.